Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Pitch International with me, Darius. Today is the 5th of July, 2023. So, yeah, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear here from that little left corner in there. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us, guys. So now then, let's jump into the charts. The first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. Well, as you know, yesterday the U.S. indices U.S. market was closed, and that's why we didn't really get much volatility. But in general, look, we're coming back today. Everything's should be back to normal, to our normal trading hours. And yep, looking at the picture here on Nikkei, we have yes, tested again this downside line that we broke, and I cannot really stop how to say it, repeating myself all the time about like this scenario where when you get, let's say, a break of a trend line and then you have a revisited from the other side. So, and this is exactly one of those scenarios that happen right now. So we broke the downside line, we pushed higher, and then we drifted back down to retest the downside line, the broken downside line. And now the question is, can we see a rebound here back to the upside? Well, so far I'm going to aim for this scenario, and I'm going to see if that's going to work out or not. If we fall back below this downside line and we fall below the 32,823 territory, then yes, I will consider a bit of a move lower. So, ASX 200, again, the same story. Look, there's a lot of some of these instruments I already picked up on, and just I'm going to run by you the same scenario that I talked about on Monday and yesterday. Basically, not much has changed, so that's why maybe it's not the most exciting or something, but I'll still run through the same scenarios. And today we do have some interesting data coming out. But ASX 200, and in terms of economic data, let me just double check something here. Yeah, so today we got the AIG manufacturing index that came out from Australia. That came out much lower. Services PMIs also came out lower, and the expectation was already for a low number, but came out even below the forecast. So the previous number was at 52.1. The forecast was at 50.7. And it came out at 50.3. So we're not very far from the contraction territory. So, okay, we'll see how that's going to play out. Retail sales, Australian retail sales came out as expected, 0.7 plus 0.7. So yeah, at the moment, I would say not maybe the best news, not the best data that came out today, and we're seeing a bit of a retracement here on ASX 200. But hey, we're still above this downside line, this broken downside line. But most importantly, we are above all of the EMAs here on my daily chart. And look, maybe this downside line is not the one to keep an eye on, but I decided to keep it for now. I mean, I would say it's not ideal. It's not something picture perfect because, again, we violated it. but this is the moment that I really like. So yeah, that's why I'm gonna maybe keep this on the chart for now and see if it carries any significance. Actually, I've changed it a little bit to see, because again, previously I had this one drawn like this. No, sorry, like this. But I think that, yeah, maybe it's better to keep that one on the chart. So yeah, let's see, guys. Let's see. I think that, yeah, this is where you adjust as you go, and you kind of act. Well, this is one of the deals that you have to kind of stick to, you know. So anyway, guys. Coming back to this, I think that if you want to go higher, maybe just wait for a push above this territory, above this downside line. Not this one, let's get rid of it, but this downside line, and then maybe we could get a little bit more excited with some higher levels. For the downside, I would like to see a drop. Well, initially a drop below all of the EMAs here on my daily chart, and then maybe a drop below the 7,125, 21 zone, somewhere around here, and then, yeah, get comfortable, a little bit more comfortable with further declines. Oh, I can see there in the chat room, Daredevil Dave. Good morning to you too. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful start off Wednesday. Yes. Sorry, I'm stuck in time a little bit, but yeah, I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Wednesday. Let me just put a good morning in the in the chat room. Good morning, everyone. There we go, and thank you very much, Daredevil Dave, for starting off the chat. So yeah, thank you. Anyway. Okay, coming back to the indices, look, the S&P 500, we're getting back into action today. Question is, what's going to happen? So we're kind of waiting, or I should say I'm waiting for this one to make a better move here. In general, it's looking a little bit more bullish than bearish, because we're near this key resistance territory, which is around that 4,500 level. So basically, I have some levels slightly below and slightly above that, but I think in general, keep your eyes on that 4,500 zone, and then yes, potentially this could attract more buying interest. For the downside, well, I'll take a very kind of careful approach, I would say here, and I'll wait for a break below this short-term tentative upside support line drawn from the low of the 24th of May. And then, yes, we'll just kind of go from there. Maybe we'll aim for this territory, the 4,400 zone, or maybe slightly below that, but we'll wait and see. Nasdaq 100 also so far so good. Look, we broke the downside line. Then we retested it from above. Then we rebounded, pushed higher. Now the question is, can we reach my targets? We're not yet there. We're not there yet, and we have this 15,475 territory, which is the highest point of June, or the current highest point of this year, which is a good target. But my question, can we break that, and can we push above it? Well, I would say let's wait and see, because again, some of you might think that maybe we're starting to form something of a double top, maybe. But again, that's too early for that, because for a double top, I would need to see a drop below the so-called neckline. And this neckline would be somewhere around here, near the 14,853.54 zone, approximately around here. But at the moment, we're near this 15,475 territory. If we clear that, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially could attract more buyers into the game, guys. So keep your eyes on that one, and let's see how that's going to play out. So, jumping into DAX, look, the same kind of story, the same analysis is valid that I've mentioned before. I talked about this little territory, the 16,150, but we broke below it. We're now drifting lower. So, okay, my next target in that case is the 50-day EMA right here, which is not far from that psychological 16,000 mark. Now, potentially a good level. Let's see if we can reach that. But I think that we might get a hold up somewhere around here initially, and then we'll just have to go from there, guys. Yeah, so just keep in mind on that one, keep an eye on that one, and we'll kind of go from there. If you're not comfortable with this scenario, then what you can do here is just wait for a drop below the 50-day EMA, and then maybe we could consider some lower levels. And if you're looking for some higher levels, maybe, and you wanted to see something a little bit more reassuring, maybe the current highest point of this week near the oh, why is it in red? Near the 16,332 territory could be that target to keep an eye on. So if we do pop above it, then yes, a forthcoming higher high will be confirmed. Now, the US dollar index. Okay, so this one's also waiting for some data. So today we have the FOMC meeting minutes. Okay, look, they will just probably just it will be just a kind of a confirmation from what was said during the last meeting in June. But yeah, still traders investors will keep an eye on it, and maybe some more guidance, or maybe some clarity again. So to see how the meeting kind of was shaping up. So yeah, I would say this way, that at this point, from the technical perspective, I'm just waiting. I'm playing the waiting game, and because again, I'm seeing the index kind of stuck here in between some of these lines, and especially this triangle pattern here, and a break of one of the sides may attract one of the either the bulls or the bears. So if we do break the downside line here, maybe more bulls could step in and potentially drive this one towards the 200-day EMA, or maybe this downside line drawn from the high of the 21st of November of last year. Good potential target, but again, maybe it will carry significance, maybe it won't. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, guys, in general, this week is full of U.S. economic data. Today, as I said, we do have that the FOMC meeting minutes. Also, we do have some factory orders from the U.S. Looking from Europe, we do get a lot of different PMI numbers, like the services PMIs, composite PMIs. So just keep an eye on that one. By the way, the Chinese PMI came out this morning, and the Chinese composite PMI, that came out lower. Not to mention the Caixin services PMI number that also kind of came out much lower than even the forecast. So yeah, in general, we're seeing a tendency. Of declines in the PMIs. That's kind of showing like a slowing economy. But again, we'll see how that goes further, of course, because again, if the Feds and if the central banks across the world, if their intentions are to still continue raising rates, then maybe, yeah, we could see that those PMIs kind of still drifting lower, because again, it would become more expensive for businesses to operate with higher interest rates. So yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. Let's go with what we have. And look, today, for example, I would say just keep an eye on the numbers, and once they come out, we could see, or once the meeting minutes come out, we could see some volatility and in the dollar and the like gold, for example, and some indices. So yeah, just be cautious with that. And talking about gold. Look, we broke this downside line. Now, I talked about this before, and I said that all of them are very tentative, and they're not really something to keep an eye on too much, maybe. But I'd still have them on the chart, and want to see how the commodity will move in relation to these trend lines. And as you can see, we did break it yesterday. We kind of pushed it higher. We stayed above it yesterday. Stayed above this downside line taken from the high of the 3rd of May. We stayed above it yesterday, and this kind of increases the chances now for maybe a further move north. But by further move north, I mean I'm talking about this 1933 territory first, and then maybe this 100-day EMA. But what I wanted to show you here as well is that, look, Yeah, this territory is something to keep in mind. But I think, let me just put a 4-hour chart on this one. I think, yeah. Let me just see what's happening here. Okay, so if we consider something like this, looking at the 4-hour chart, we can see that we have a nice, beautiful little trend line. This is something that I mentioned, by the way, in the idea section that we throw out here on our page, on our profile page. We throw out different ideas as well, so you can check those out. There are some in different languages as well, so just keep an eye on those. Yeah, but look, in general, maybe if you're looking for something a little bit more reassuring, you could keep an eye on this downside line, drawn from the high of the 4th of May, not from the 5th of, not from the 3rd of May, but from the 4th of May. So we could see, if that one works out or not. So let me just jump back into a daily chart. You can see here clearly that maybe this could carry a little bit more significance. It's not always maybe the peak, that could is from where you need to draw it, because, for example, if this one makes a little bit more sense, and at this point it does, maybe you could wait for it and wait for a little bit more reassurance. Because if this is not working out for you guys, I mean, honestly, if something is not working out for you, just leave it. Wait until it ticks all the boxes, and then kind of do something about it. But at this point, look, it's not ticking all of my boxes yet, neither for the upside nor for the downside. So that's when I'm going to be observing the price action. Maybe I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside, but yeah, a lot of confirmation is still needed. So at this point, yeah, I'm just observing the price action. For the downside, I need to see a drop somewhere below this 1910 zone, something like that. And at the same time, we could see a drop below the 200-day EMA as well, and that, yeah, if we do see that one, then more sellers could join in. Silver continues to hold below this 200-day EMA, so I'm loving it, actually, because, again, this is something that I mentioned, and I said to you that, look, if we stay below this 200-day EMA, there's still a good chance for this one to drift lower, and but even if, let's say, if we do push above this 200-day EMA, there we have a downside line drawn from the high of the 4th of May, so something to keep in mind, which could still provide some resistance. Now, if that gets broken, at the same time, maybe we could see a break above all of the EMAs, but again, too early to talk about that. Let's wait and see. If you're looking for a little bit more reassurance on the downside, I would say I will wait for a break of this upside line drawn from the low of the 23rd of June, and if that gets broken, then yes, I will aim for lower levels. Oil is still doing the same thing. Look, we did violate this steeper downside line. Okay, that's fine. But as you can see, I have this other one drawn here, which I really like as well. So maybe actually I'm going to get rid of this. And in general, look, all of them are tentative. Don't get me wrong. It's not really something to really stick to or something like that, but at the moment what I'm seeing here is that my 200-day EMA is doing a good job here, and sorry, not the 200-day, the 50-day EMA, shown as the red line here, is doing a good job and providing good resistance. So together with this other downside line drawn from the high of the 24th of May, look, I'm missing out on this candle just because it's a nice Sunday candle as we have here. So that's why I'm just excluding that one and drawing this one instead. In general, it seems like we could be forming here something of a descending triangle pattern, but again, maybe a little bit too early to talk about that. If we do stay below this downside line, great. Okay, I'll consider maybe a move back down, but as you can see here, my preferred scenario for the downside is from around here, from around that 67 territory. BTC USD, this one is a pain in the bottom a little bit because, again, it seems like it wanted to form something like a bullish flag or something like that, but hey, it's now kind of still flirting with this territory, that 31,000 territory. So in other words, look, at this point, I am just observing the price action, just just chilling. And waiting for my confirmation. At this point, probably the best confirmation is to wait for a push above the 31,500 territory, somewhere around here, and then, you know, get comfortable with some higher levels from there. For the downside, I will get a little bit more comfortable for the downside if we do start falling, okay, initially below that psychological 30,000 mark, but then I will keep an eye on the 28,440 zone, and well, this is from where I will get a little bit more excited with lower levels, and more excited with the larger correction to the downside, because don't forget that any throwback here could be classed as a temporary correction before another possible leg of buying, because we're still trading above this upside support line drawn from the low of the 30th of December of last year. So yeah, that's the game plan. But yeah, Bitcoin right now is not really doing anything much. I think it's waiting because, again, it's waiting for the whole kind of SEC decision and what's going to happen with the BlackRock offer or proposal to create a Bitcoin ETF. But again, you're creating something that, or as for the SEC, that's a big problem, because look, the proposal from BlackRock is the biggest asset manager in the world, with the around like a little bit more than 9 trillion trillion of USD under management. This one it's a proposal where, you know, they want to create an ETF which invests directly into Bitcoin, something that is unregulated and something that is not regulated by the SEC. So SEC has a bit of a problem with that. And another thing is that when the SEC right now recently found some flaws in the proposal, BlackRock resubmitted it through Nasdaq, and actually appointed another problem for SEC is that BlackRock appointed Coinbase as the kind of the safe monitor monitoring company. And as we know, SEC has a lawsuit against Coinbase for not, let's say, for allowing, for blaming, for incorrect, trading, or allowing to trade 12 tokens, if I'm not mistaken, which should be classed as assets. But yeah, they didn't fall under they should fall under the regulation of the SEC, but Coinbase did not report that. So, you know, that's the whole kind of lawsuit. And now BlackRock appoints Coinbase as the dedicated safe monitoring company, and that's that's funny, honestly. Talk about financial chess. Anyway, Bitcoin Cash. This one's retracing nicely. Okay. Yeah, that's all fine. Look, I mean, I talked about this 23.6% retracement on my Fibonacci. We reached that. We're currently sitting here, and yeah, the question is, can we go further south? If we do fall below this 268 territory, I'm considering a larger correction to the downside. Simple as that. For the upside, I would need to see a push somewhere back above the 302 territory right here, 302.5, and then, yeah, I'll aim to the upside. Dogecoin, this one is trying to do something, but it's, I think we're waiting for Mr. Musk to say something about Dogecoin and then kind of give it a boost. But as I said before, I am waiting for a push above that 0.07 territory in order to get comfortable with the upside. AUDJPY. Look, I talked about this one yesterday. I said to you that if you want to keep an eye on that 96.70 territory, we pushed above it, but we failed to stay above it. So yesterday we were kind of, this level here was the that current highest point of that day, but I think now we can keep an eye on this one. As you can see, this 96.83 territory has become an important one to watch. So if you want to go higher, a break of that area is needed. So at this point, I'm just observing the price action as long as we stay below this 96.83 territory. And if we do pop above it, then yes, I'll go towards that 97.67 zone. In terms of the downside, at the moment, to be honest, you know what? I'm going to leave it with the downside. If we see the stock market selling off, then yes, maybe then this could be that, a point where we could start considering maybe some lower levels on AUDJPY. AUDNZD. So yesterday we fell below this hurdle. I talked about this 1.0829. We were kind of just actually balancing on that area, and yesterday I said to you that if we do fall below it, my next target is the 1.07, or should I say 1.08 territory, which we managed to reach perfectly. And then yes, my next target is the 1.0771, 65 levels approximately around here. So this whole support area. Look, at the moment I am keeping a close eye on it, and if we kind of reach it, then we'll see if we can get further declines. But at this point, I'm just aiming for this territory right here. USDJPY. USDJPY is also quite a nice one here. Quite a nice pain in the bottom, because again, I was kind of hoping to see maybe a move lower, but that's why I've marked this hurdle here, this 144 zone. If we do fall below it, then yes, I will aim for some lower levels. At the moment, we're coming back, or at least trying to get back to the 145 zone, but let's wait and see if the BOJ kind of intervenes here. If we do pop above the 145 zone, then this will confirm a forthcoming higher high and potentially could lead to some further, devaluation of the yen against the US dollar, and that's okay, in a way that's good for export, but for the domestic market that might not be very, very nice. Looking at the picture here, like I said, yes, at the moment we're stuck here in between these two areas, the 144 and the 145 zones here. So we're waiting for this one to make some sort of a move. USDCHF, same story, still in the range. To be honest, not much to talk about. I've mentioned this already last week, this week, in the beginning of this week, so the same analysis is still valid. USDCAD, also, yes, waiting for some sort of a driver, like some sort of a catalyst for this one to make a move. Look, for sure, this pair will be something to be watched for on Friday, when we have the NFP numbers coming out, job numbers from US and job numbers from Canada. Now, that's going to be, if you do like to trade USD CAD, guys, this is the moment probably for you to trade. However, expect volatility, expect choppiness, that's for sure. I mean, honestly, expect choppiness. And okay, if you manage to capture the correct moment, okay, congratulations. But to be honest, because neither of us have a crystal ball, and that's why it would be difficult to predict the scenario before the kind of the news comes out. So that's why just kind of keep it in mind. Look, for now, I am just observing the price action. I said to you before that, look, if we do pop above this 1.3270 territory, I'll go higher. But as you can see by the arrow that I've drawn here, I'm aiming only for the 50-day EMA initially, and then I'll take it from there. Okay, if we push through it, great, I'll go higher towards the 200-day EMA. But in the meantime, I'm just aiming for that 50-day EMA. GBPJPY also something that I really like right now, just because it's kind of doing this. It's really struggling with that 183.77 zone right here. So yeah, if you want to go higher, I would say we need to wait, because again, not only that we need to see a breakout here, because again we keep getting those. Keep getting these false breakouts, but also and I would like to see it staying above this area. If it stays, then yes, I'll go further north, guys. For the downside, pretty straightforward. A drop below this 182.14 zone right here may lead to a larger correction to the downside towards this upside support line drawn from the low, the 24th of March. So basically, this move could lead to a larger correction to the downside. EURJPY, finally we are seeing some sort of activity, and yes, we broke the upside line. Look, as I said to you before, this upside line is not the strongest of indicators, and we broke. Okay, that's great. So it kind of points to the idea of maybe seeing some more downside. But look, we do have some European data today. that's coming out. So like for example, the services PMI numbers that are coming out today from the Eurozone. On not tomorrow, but I think on Friday. Yes, on Friday we do have a bit of data coming out from Japan, so that's going to be quite interesting to see. And of course, yes, the same kind of moment with the ISM numbers as well, that are going to be the US ISM numbers, because look, we had the ISM manufacturing numbers that came out, well, crap, to be honest. So they came out below forecast. So it's like the 8th month of contraction. Now the focus is on the non-manufacturing PMI. Well, those are that number is expected to actually come out higher, but to be honest, we'll see. If the tendency is to the downside, well then, let's see if we're not going to fall even below 50. But I'm not trying to predict anything here, but just going from what I have. Anyway. So if that's the case, then maybe, the yen would strengthen, because again, if the stock market basically starts selling off a little bit, then everybody will start jumping into the yen. So just kind of keep that in mind. And finally, EURUSD. Look, EURUSD. I said it before, and I'll stick to it, and I'll stick to my game plan. Basically, that we have a downside line which is providing good resistance, and now we're driving back down. We fell below the 1.0892 territory. I talked about this, and yes, I said too that if we do fall below it, my next target is the 50-day EMA, which I think that we've reached it, so that's fine. And now the question is, can we see a further decline, basically? So if we do fall below the 50-day EMA, then yes, I'm aiming for the 1.0845 territory right here, which I have marked already, and I've mentioned it before. And in a way, all this seems to be forming a nice descending triangle pattern. So will that be the case? Let's wait and see, because again, according to all the TA rules, such patterns tend to break to the downside, but a confirmation break is still needed, because again, how many times I've seen this breaking to the opposite direction? A lot of times. So that's why I'm not rushing into anything. I'm just, for now, observing the price action and kind of cautiously leaning towards the downside a little bit within the pattern here, but yeah, let's not rush into anything. So guys, this was a quick overview, because again, the thing is that I have already mentioned these, and I'm kind of repeating myself. Look, we had the US was off yesterday, so today they're coming back. Again, we'll see how the market comes back into all this. Expect maybe some, a lot of trading activity, volatility might increase. But again, be careful, be cautious, always risk what you can afford to lose, have your stop losses in place, guys, and everything will be fine. So thank you very much for this, for joining in and tuning in. So I really appreciate that. So yep, guys, I hope, like I said, I hope you found it useful, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now. Have a great day. Hey there, thank you very much for watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. So like this video, we speculate your next mass movement will be towards the subscribe button.